So to everybody that was saying there's gonna be some type of sky or like solar or even like the sun magic, you guys are really really close, and it ends up that has star magic, which is mad hype. That's like the craziest thing about this chapter that I'm finding hard to wrap my mind around. Now, granted, I was definitely one who was really on the train for ether magic because I felt like it would have made a lot of sense with what he has already, but I'm definitely not mad at this either. But the chapter essentially starts with Xenon kind of putting two and two together once he realizes what Yuno is doing. Like he sees two grimoires and he sees the star, and then this is when we get this like great moment where he, like I said, is putting together and thinking about the history of the Spade Kingdom royal family. And then this one, us as the reader, we get to see that Lois, Yuno's father had sun magic and his mother had moon magic, and then they, them together with him gave him star magic. Now, to like take a step back, those two with their like celestial body magic, I wish we would have got to see them do something. And honestly, like star magic is dope, but I kind of wanted to see their two magics in action. 'Cause I just feel like they would have been like really dope. It almost makes me really confused that they're able to be beaten by the Dark Tribe, but maybe they weren't fighters. Like, because obviously, like Augustus isn't a fighter. Like, just because you're royalty and have really powerful rare magic doesn't make you a fighter. So I mean, it makes sense, but I really wish we could have got to see them do a little something something. It kind of makes me hope that does have some type of family member, just so we can like possibly see one of those types of magic, even though it is really highly unlikely. And I've never been a big fan of the Yuno's mom is still alive theories. I've never been a big fan of those. But one thing I want to go back to in this very first page though is that when we get to see his grimoire, or his new one at least, we do see that there's like 5 pages. Like we get to see the 4 main ones and then kind of a piece of a 5 one. I'm not for sure. I've been seeing people talk about that he has 4 or 5 spells. I don't know if this like really stands because he did use exactly 4 spells, so you could speculate that maybe he's saving like his 5th super powerful spell to defeat Xenon, or maybe combo magic with his wind. But it's definitely just something interesting that I want to make note of. But definitely does have a plan, because he does tell Bell to work on charging up power inside of him, because he knows that star magic will not beat Xenon alone. Even though I'm not for sure, because his showcase of it by itself in this chapter was just absolutely crazy. And it's even funny too, because when he saves Fenrir Lingers, Fenrir was like, "Oh, you have a 4-leaf grimoire and a second Spade grimoire," like, and then Lingers like, "Just who are you?" And it's just nonchalantly like, "Oh, just the vice captain of the Golden Dawn." It's like, bro, like you're clearly way more special than you are leading on to be. And then after this, like Yuno's star magic spells that we get to see are probably like top in the verse, which is the weirdest thing to say. Like he's showcasing some of the most highest level of that respective category. Like, and what I mean by that is Xenon goes to attack him, he blocks it. This is probably one of the strongest defensive spells that we've seen in the series. Xenon tries to trap him in his box, in his subspace. He literally teleports out of a different dimension. Like speed, utility, like that's everything right there. And then he does an attack, and this like beam of, I guess, star energy or laser, star magic, whatever you want to call it, goes like literally through Xenon. And it was so weird to me, because I'm just like, so this attack that he just got, that he probably isn't really experienced with using, is already on the level, or if not stronger than his spirit of a Euros bow. So it's just like, this magic is ridiculously overpowered. Like, it is ridiculously overpowered, to the point where it makes me think that if he would have had his original magic from the start, like, it makes sense that he would be stronger using his original magic than the wind magic. Like, that totally makes sense. But at the same time, it's like, I didn't think it would be this much of a gap. Like, if he was using his original magic from the start, he actually might have clapped everything he came across significantly easier, which sounds weird to say considering he has done really well against pretty much everything he has fought thus far. So it just is like, imagine if he, instead of having wind magic and got Bell, if he just had star magic in the dungeon arc, he probably would have just clapped Mars straight up. Like, Mars probably would have just died. Like, or Catherine would have just got obliterated. Like, it's one of those things where he would have been so he would have been so overpowered. And one thing that I really like about this is it doesn't feel forced from Tabata. Like, it feels like he had an idea of this. Like, it doesn't feel out of nowhere. So that's why I kind of like this, especially because people have been speculating this and talking about it for a while. So it feels right. But essentially, after all this, is basically saying he wants to prove that all the choices he made weren't wrong. And Xenon also says to himself that he wants to crush you. Like, I mean, it's mostly talking to Yuno. Like, they both want to prove that they're the one who is right, and that they're the one who will win. And I like this a lot, because the main reason that Xenon even turned down the whole path of like being a devil host is because he wanted to, protect the Spade Kingdom, and be like head of it along with his friend Alan. So like once Ellen died, the choices he made that led him down this path, he wants, like, him winning and all that kind of validate his choices. And it's the same for Yuno. Like, he wanted to prove that everything he did, from, you know, joining the Magic Knights, joining the Golden Dawn, becoming the Red Cap, all that stuff, he wants to prove that all the things he did were right. So it's kind of like this very interesting clash of ideals from two characters that people call really boring. And it's just so interesting to me how people can still say Yuno is bland or Yuno's a bad character when he has all of this development going on for him right now. Like, it's all actively happening in front of him, and you can even see more into his character, but people are still just like, nah, Yuno's boring. Like, he has no personality. So it's like, on top of, you know, already having a lot of the same similar traits as Asta, just minus the like yelling, like they literally are very similar characters. But he also has this whole huge drive of him wanting to prove, you know, that the choices he made in his life were right. That's like a big deal for a person. There's lots of people that do that in real life. Like, you know, is a character that's very based in actual people. So it's just, I don't know, people just kind of kill me with that. But that essentially is the entire chapter. And chapter was amazing. Like, it was like easily like a 10. Unfortunately, I say unfortunately, like, because I hate giving out 10s. I just don't like doing it. But I'm a big fan of Yuno, so I feel like I kind of have to. And we got a little bit of Spade Kingdom Lord, so I can't really complain about that. As for what I think is going to happen next, it can kind of go a lot of different places, but I'm pretty sure most people will agree on next chapter will probably be whatever, you know, it's having Bell store power for. It's probably going to be the defeat of Xenon. It could go that way, or if, like, I wouldn't really like this other way that I'm about to say, but I could totally see it happening where Yuno does do whatever he's gonna do, and then Xenon gets another power up. But I feel like if he gets another power up, that's kind of where I draw the line. It's like, okay, this is a lot. He already had his 100% power up, already had his full Devil transformation power up. I don't think he needs another one on top of that. I kind of just hope next chapter is kind of the end of it. Like, the writing is on the wall, so hopefully that'll just be the wrap up of the Xenon stuff, and maybe at the very end of that we get to see a second gate open, because I kind of feel like it's about time, because a lot has happened just for this only to be the first gate. Like, it's one thing that, like, I know Jay says it a lot, or that people try to bring up, but again, it really is only the first gate. So I kind of hope at the very end we kind of get a second one opening, in addition to Xenon being beaten. Now, there's a lot more that I do have to say about Yuno, but I am going to save that for another video, hopefully for Monday or for Tuesday, where I want to talk about Yuno's magic, like, more in depth. So please be on the lookout for that. I am very curious to know how you guys feel about Yuno's magic reveal. Like, were you guys like pumped for it, or are you guys excited about it? Like, how do you guys feel about Star Magic? I feel like I haven't seen anything super negative about it, so I guess the fandom is taking it pretty well. But I feel like everybody's just more so hyped. But I really want to know, how do people actually feel about it. That being said, make sure you guys like the video, as well as subscribe to the channel for more content. Be on the lookout for that video on more where I'm going to talk more about Yuno getting this power, because there's definitely a conversation to be had there. Just things that I feel like I have to get off my chest about it. But aside from that, you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you all in my next video.